This is Chris Hansen.
Chad doing Rip City Radio here.
It's your favorite basketball player, Tyler Hansbrough.
This is Jamie Hudson.
This is TJ Houshmandzadeh.
And I'm going to let y'all know something.
Duke sucks and Duke will always suck.
You're listening to
It Just Makes Sense.
It Just Makes Sense.
Dillon Brooks is just a joke.
He's a Timu Draymond Green. Is he not? Like, I mean, he's what you want him to be.
That's
but then,
disrespectful to Timu.
That's what I was going to say. There's a lot of great products in Timu. And I wouldn't even say that Dillon Brooks is Timu.
You're not a fifth-round pick, but you certainly weren't a first-round pick. And now you're at a crossroads where you can be like, I'm going to go win that thing, or be like, fuck these guys, I don't want to be here. You can go one or the other direction. And now it's going to be up to him.
Clear eyes.
Full heart!
Can't lose.
Play like a champion! Mr. and Mrs. Collins to the front stage.
You
Should have
done,
been Collins.
you done did it.
He's a married man. He's a married
I haven't
man.
taken it off. Washed
Good.
my hands with it, showered with it.
Good, that's how it's supposed to be.
How's it feel?
I keep looking at it. I'm not used to wearing jewelry yet.
It's going to be a weird few weeks.
It's probably going to take a couple months for me to get used to it. I've banged it on the fucking counter a couple times already,
Yeah.
but it's good. I think there's a warranty.
We'll see.
We'll see. Juan Magoo is a married man. What a great
you're
weekend.
glowing.
You are.
You're glowing.
Yeah.
From the sun. the rain that we were worried instead got a tan.
Oh, my gosh. What an amazing, perfect weekend for Juan Magoo. And Ashley, and really us.
Yeah.
You know, we had a great time.
We did.
We had a great time. We were just talking about just like your favorite moments, which you said were your first dance, and when you walked up and turned around and saw everyone at the ceremony and the gratitude you felt. But enough about that. What was your favorite part, Braxton?
This is actually more interesting for us. Like, we want to hear what everyone's favorite part was.
You know, I think that at any wedding I go to, there's usually one moment, if I know the groom well enough, obviously, that always is the best to me. And that's, you know, the hour and a half, the 90 minutes before you go to the ceremony.
Yeah.
Because it's only if you're a part of that group, you're one of the closest people to them, which is obviously an honor. And there's this certain buzz because everybody, not only is having drinks, but it's coming down to game time. And you can kind of feel that vibe in the air.
It got there quick, too, it
Yeah.
felt like. Yeah.
Yeah.
That day, the morning went by quick.
Well, and it feels like time starts, things start moving a lot more quickly. And so that's always one of my favorite parts in any wedding, to be honest. And, no difference here. But also, let's say, actually in the wedding, I thought really good speeches.
Great speeches.
Very, very funny. Very, in both, in almost all the speeches, I was laughing so hard and, holding back tears, with everybody. So that was really great.
The speeches were on brand.
For sure.
It could not be more
Yeah.
authentic with exactly who I was from two people from different parts of my life. And the stories coming together, which is almost the exact same.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I have so many stories, but I can't tell any of them.
It's you got to pick and choose. Both stories of being broke. Experience two evictions with both of those people.
Yeah.
It's funny.
That's right. You've been evicted with both of them. How about that? Yeah. So, let's see.
What was your favorite moment, Pete?
I had a series of moments throughout the day. I think one of my favorite ones was actually when we kicked you out of the wedding suite because Ashley needed to go to the bathroom. And I don't know if you intentionally did this, but you had your quote unquote bachelor moment, like if you're watching the show The Bachelor, where someone's looking longingly out into the, out so that then they can take the vanity shots or whatever. And I have this photo. I think maybe you've seen it. If not, I'll send it to you.
My hands up.
There's that one where you started doing the YMCA, but you didn't finish the Mitchell.
Well, I'll let you
one.
finish and I'll tell you.
Oh yeah, so it was that moment where you're kind of out there, and the bridal suite was above everything, and the views, like literally everywhere you went in Yamhill Carlton area, was just like the most picturesque, like 180 degrees. I need to stop and take a panoramic photo of this. Was like so beautiful. We were so high in this bridal suite that there were hawks that were flying below
That was wild.
us.
That was fucking wild.
That was crazy. So, it was just like really cool to see you kind of have that moment to yourself, even if, I don't know what was going through your head at that moment, or if it was profound, if there was any sort of reflection, but it looked incredibly reflective and contemplative. I don't know what was going through your mind.
He was just
during
thinking, I wonder if I could DoorDash a big bite.
No, that's a great point, because those I knew I was gonna have more than enough moments that day where it's emotional, it's heartfelt, and all that. And it's not that I was like purposely saving it in my mind, but that specific moment where I was kicked out so she can go to the bathroom, it was nothing more than those memes where like, oh, I wonder what he's thinking about right now. He's thinking about other girls.
What's going through his head?
There was nothing important. I seriously, when I was looking out there, one of the things I was thinking about, I was like, what if my barong rips?
Oh, yeah.
And then when you saw me lift my hands, I was testing
You were
the
testing
fabric.
it?
I swear to you, that's all I was
What if
doing.
it had ripped?
Yeah.
Well, I wasn't. Obviously, I wasn't doing this, but I was just testing the fabric to see if I'm rocking a crop top.
Yeah.
So that's all I was doing.
It's the Y. It's the Y of the YMCA.
Because someone was also saying like, did he just felt victorious? Did he just feel the victory?
Oh my God!
So
I didn't
nothing
see the
prophetic, nothing reflective. Just I
No,
wonder if this barong's gonna rip.
In that 5 minutes that I was out there while she's using the bathroom, there was nothing heartfelt or
All
important.
right. Well, the pictures looked incredible.
Oh, that live photo is
because like look at that.
unbelievable.
Like look, when you see this, you think like, wow, what a moment for him. In all of this,
I was
like,
like, is it gonna rain?
yeah, in all of
he's
this,
on top of the world.
yeah, in all of this, like this is his one like silent moment to himself. I wonder what's going through his head right now. He must be really just. And
I think I was thinking throughout our whole friend group, Ashley and I never host or throw parties. And then we throw this one, and this seems to be way too important. I was like, oh.
I absolutely loved the morning leading up to be able to like wake up and to see you, because right outside where Lindsay and myself slept the night before, because we stayed with you at the bachelor suite, the bachelor house. We go out there and you're jotting down your
morning of vows.
your vows, or at least completing them or whatever. And I just love that, like the again, scenery, the weather, the temperature, everything was great. We're popping mimosas. We've got like morning cigars happening and everything.
The soft sound of Braxton snoring is in the background.
Yeah, that was also true. I loved
The
that.
CPAP snoring is like having those foam things built into your wall. It
just
minimizes the.
muted
You
a
still
little
hear
bit.
it, but it's.
It's a damper. Yeah, it's a damper.
I think I hope at least that everyone got to see the reason why we chose that venue.
Oh my God!
I think
Yeah.
from the biggest selling point was the ceremony site, like having that, because there were a couple of people that I think Mitch brought this up, is like, I'm worried that no one's going to be able to hear your officiant with like the river flowing.
Sure.
We picked a DJ that's worked that venue and's been a guest at that venue, so he knows how to do audio and stuff. But like that river was a huge selling point. The view from the suites were a huge selling point, and then the barn with the patio and the
Yeah,
fire
that
and
was
all
great.
that, like that was that's why we chose a really inconvenient location.
Yeah, 5 miles down a dirt road
Yeah.
with literally the only like connection to the outside world was if you connected to a Starlink.
Yep.
Which once there was more than 7 people connected to it,
Game over.
like
not
the whole
worth it.
whole wedding, like it just did not
Shut
work.
it down.
It really
Yeah.
brought me back to having cricket 20 years ago, where as soon as you got to the parking lot, the Wi-Fi is gone.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
you really had to be in front of the barn.
But I mean, at that point, everyone important in your life was there, and you didn't need a connection. You didn't even have your phone. I don't.
My
think,
phone
so.
was at the bar along with my cigars until I was ready for it.
Yeah, I looked at my phone because you had asked for people to send photos. Not a single photo.
Wow. Okay.
Not one.
The final thing that I will say, as far as like things that will stick in my brain, I mean, I've obviously like to be of witness to your first dance, knowing the history and how like you've talked about that from the beginning, here and now, as the first dance. Like my wife was like inconsolable. She was crying so hard.
This was before any girl was even close to marrying me. Before any, like, the song came before any girl was a serious prospect.
So we knew that history. I actually didn't know that it was going to hit Lindsay, and I don't think she knew either. But that was so cool to see. And like you said, you kind of blacked out, or like you kind of had tunnel vision, where the only thing
in the
was
zone.
your wife, that song, your dance. But then also your walk down with your parents. I mean, I told you this earlier when we were talking. It was just so, it was really cool to see. Your dad had his arm around your shoulder. You were escorting your mom. And there was just kind of this like posture that you had to where it felt really vulnerable with them, and I don't know if it was. Again, I'm 0 for 1 on what may have been going through. It kind of felt like you were, I don't know, like you were their child, you know, in that moment. And again, maybe that's wrong,
That's deep.
but it felt like that. And I remember turning to Mitchell. I was like, "We have to witness this."
I think
it felt so
if it did look like
powerful.
that might have came off naturally.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think it's anything that I was thinking about, obviously, but like I'm glad that's how it looked.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I obviously, like, there was a chance my dad couldn't make it, and there was some family stuff, so that meant a lot for sure.
Yeah, and there's a couple of funny parts too, because during your ceremony, was this true? Did you say this where Ashley was like, if she needed to reset herself, she was going to look down the line of the groomsmen, like if she needed like a place to like rest her eyes or reset her eyes? Am I making that up?
No, she was kind of counting on, okay, these guys, if anything, her bridal party was going to be more emotional during the ceremony.
Yeah.
And she can probably count on a bunch of drunk fucking clowns to be like, okay, I can kind of reset and settle down. And then of all the guys out of the 7, she caught you and you were crying. And she goes, God damn it, that doesn't fucking help.
She and I locked eyes a couple of times, and I was just like, I'm sorry, this is it. This is what my face is doing.
I didn't want to
You
like
know?
ruin her makeup, so I was
Yeah.
like trying to not make light of it, but I was trying to like keep it together. And I know that she like looked over just to see maybe some guys that are just like staring off into nothing, and then she caught you crying, and she goes, God damn it.
Yeah.
But I kept looking down because I was like, your boobs look great in this dress.
Ashley
Fucking
looked
incredible.
Ashley looked like that dress looked like it was made for her, or the other way around. Like, it was perfect.
Her maid of honor was like, hey, look up. Like, you're just staring at her tits. Like look at her face.
Yeah. Yeah, Ashley looked incredible. We looked incredible.
You guys looked so sharp. I
yeah.
hope you like the way you look, because at some points I thought that maybe because not necessarily the whole ensemble, but just I thought the groomsmen looked fucking good.
Yeah, I thought we looked great.
I thought you guys all looked fucking great.
Yeah, we all had the same pants. The fact that mine fit was just a miracle. I have no idea.
We made
how-
it happen.
Yeah,
Through hard work.
The
Obviously,
barongs
we didn't
looked
pay
fucking
anybody.
great.
they did.
Your
Yeah.
guys' barongs looked great.
They look very good. I know I've already said that, like, I had one more thing, but I'm going to keep saying this. We recalled, and you even recall this, when Ashley came around the corner, when she was coming down the aisle, there was this kind of staircase that she went and then took kind of like the loop around. And I remember immediately looking back to you and your face going into staring at the ground because you're like, I got to keep my shit together here.
Yeah.
So
I kept doing that, like, breathing exercise. I was like, all right. But
yeah.
So during the reception, some of my high school friends, like Matt and Zach, I was talking to them, and they're like, okay, we made a bet when we got here.
Right.
Was there waterworks? Did you cry during like first look and all of your vows and all that? I'm like, are you fucking kidding me?
Yeah.
Yes. So
I don't know, Braxton, did he cry? We had a bunch of looky-loos there in the bachelor suite and in the bridals. Everyone was looking. Me and Mitchell were off on the couch. I knew my wife was wanted to make sure that it wanted to seem like it was private.
So not everyone was looking out the window?
Mitchell and myself were over on a couch because my wife was like, this should be their moment. And I'm like, okay, I'll go sit over there. So I didn't see it.
Oh, I didn't think about it like that. I just thought it was private with the fact that no one's around us.
Gotcha. Yeah.
Because it was fucking clear. Her entire side, they were all lined up.
Could
like
you hear
ghosts.
them cheering?
They were like ghosts,
cheering.
like standing next to each other, shoulder to shoulder, looking out the door.
Yeah. I probably would have liked to have kind of like watched, but I had a
More than anything, I wanted to see her
judgmental
dress.
eyes.
I hadn't seen her dress yet. So once you turned around and I saw you see her and I saw the dress, I gave somebody else my spot. But I don't feel bad for watching.
you
her
lawyer.
Her dress was great, man. Her knockers look incredible in that dress.
I don't know if I mentioned that, but
I don't know if I remember, but the tits.
She had this necklace too that I guess like her mom got her. I was like, where did you get that? I was like, did I buy that? She goes, no.
No. Your food was incredible. The photo booth was so cool. Those are quintessentially you. You could kind of like see where Miguel was sprinkled in throughout this wedding.
I think that was probably one of the cooler comments that I got. That was really fun for me to hear from like a couple guys that have known me for a while too, like Brady and like Andy. It was like as soon as we walked in here, it felt like your wedding. It was like this was straight off of your fucking playlist, like the food. And how every time we go to a bar, you hit a photo booth and you had a good one right there. It was like it just looked like it was your event.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Worst part, the Black Eyed Peas. I already said it. I'm gonna say it again publicly. By accident,
that might change the reviews because we had no hand in that.
Yeah, you said it might have been on the no playlist, but I think that it was
I'll check it.
Very much of the DJ because after like 3 or 4 Black Eyed Peas songs, I go like, man, I'm feeling like we're really up here in our quota of Black Eyed Peas, and then I see the freaking DJ doing the Running Man to Black Eyed Peas. I go, oh, I get it now.
We told that
loved him.
We told that DJ. He's cool. I like Daniel a lot. We told him, I was like, hey, I'm one of the last ones to get married. So a lot of the people here, I've been to their wedding. Yeah. I've been the drunk guy at their fucking wedding, and I am notorious for requesting songs that they don't like. So there will be retaliation.
Yeah.
I don't want you to keep that in mind. There's no request. You are not handing it to them. He's like, okay.
We got a request in.
Did you?
Yeah.
But the funny part was at the end of the night, this is when like a lot of people have left already, and I think it was like maybe an hour and a half before we took off. My friend Zach he's like, hey, Amanda really wants to hear Backstreet Boys. Mm-hmm. Your DJ is refusing it. But if he gets the green light from you, he'll play it.
As long as you love me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is that what we played?
I think it was because it felt a little different than what had been playing.
At the end, when like, okay, we have one song left, and then he's packing up. And I wasn't sure if this has been played yet, but it was really big in Cabo. I'm like, well, we got to play Blow the Whistle by Too Short. And I think that was the last song. Because Ashley was talking about that the day before. He was like, we don't have like a send-off song. It's like, what's our last song? So I'm like, well, I think it's only right that it's Too Short.
Yeah.
Send it off the right way.
Yeah. Incredible time.
It was wonderful.
You should do it again. Well, you know what? We've talked about this now with Amar himself. We've got another wedding sometime soon, it sounds like. Who knows
Sometime
when.
soon.
But good old Amar
And
is
this will be
a days-long affair.
and probably the last one for a while.
Yeah.
And it's going to be quite the experience.
Yeah, so Amar, your friend, now adopted our friend as well. His soon-to-be fiance, Sahara, because from their family and their background, they have to do they have to get the permission before the engagement. Right?
Yep.
It's going to be apparently a very traditional Indian wedding, right? So,
Yeah.
Well,
very
if-
excited.
I'm very much looking forward
If
to
I'm
it.
lucky enough to be invited to Amar's, because I'm not going to assume, obviously they've had a lot of friends that they've known longer. That'd be one, but I know that I have one more in Adrian's. So
Right, that's true.
I know
Yeah.
that I have one, possibly two more.
Yeah, well, Amar said I'm going, so
Yeah, I think you're both
you're
going
going
to be there.
Yeah.
I have two,
Boom shaka.
possibly two bachelor parties. Oh boy.
Oh my god.
Can you imagine that? And then after that too, we're just waiting for your fucking kids to get married.
Yeah, I know.
It's gonna be that kind of old.
Like Mitchell said, we're going to be like camping people now. We're going to have to do boys camping trips and all that. So we might.
It's not a bad idea.
Man, did you guys feel like you had to take a few days to come down from the high of your day?
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. Absolutely. I mean, like there was naturally the days-long recoveries because I think that just today we're all starting to feel a bit like human
I think
beings
there's coming
again.
down from the high of the day, and then there's coming down from alcohol recovery.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah,
No, but absolutely. You definitely are kind of riding a high for those next couple days because it seems very surreal. And something that you mentioned before we started recording, which I think is, somewhat universal, is to have that moment when, you're sitting at the sweetheart table or on the dance floor or whenever, and to kind of look around and to know and understand that all these people are here because I asked them to be, and they love me and my wife, and to have that kind of realization, that it sticks with you for a few days.
They
That's for sure.
drove down 5 miles of a gravel.
everyone thought
dirt
they were
road.
gonna die. Everyone thought Rip and John Dutton was right behind them, leading them into a fucking middle of nowhere.
I thought it was funny. I ended up at the winery where you proposed to Ashley, unbeknownst to myself. Until
Saffron Field,
Yeah,
shout out.
shout out.
Shut up.
Shout out. Shout out to Shadeur, possibly. Shadeur Sanders, the
11th round,
the
672nd
11th
pick.
round draft pick of your Cleveland Browns.
What a quarterback room, baby.
Dude.
Joe
And-
Flacco,
and
Kenny
don't-
Pickett,
don't
Dylan
forget-
Gabriel,
Dylan Gabriel.
Shadeur Sanders,
What a competitive
and
quarterback.
Deshaun Watson, I suppose.
Have they announced Hard Knocks for this year?
They have not, but
Well, if they do Hard
I don't know
Knocks
if they
for the
qualify.
Cleveland Browns, it's gonna be on Bravo. It's not gonna be on HBO Max
Yeah.
or anywhere else.
it will be on Bravo.
Oh man.
Uh,
I think you can't have done it in the last 5 years, I think.
Yeah, there's
And-
something about like
and
being
being
a
in the
playoff
playoff
team.
team.
Yeah, something. So I don't know what their qualifications would be. Obviously, if
that would
they
be fun
would
to
qualify, yeah.
It'd be very fun to watch.
But that's the spectacle that it seems like a lot of teams have seemingly tried to avoid. Shadeur Sanders are projected, at least by pundits and mock drafts and all this, possibly a first rounder, possibly a top whatever. And then he slides out of the first, and so some people think maybe he's going to be early second round. Second round comes and goes. The Browns had 2 of the top 4 picks. They skipped out on him, and then the free fall started. It was until after the wedding on Saturday that Sheduer was even drafted. We were looking at it up and down, and it wasn't happening. So the free fall happens, and then everyone's starting to speculate as to why, because no one can seemingly justify the fact that maybe this guy just didn't pan out, at least from what pundits and prognosticators had thought to what NFL teams actually saw on film. What do you guys think?
Well, I agree with what you've said, and I think at a certain point, if you're going to bring Shadeur on expecting him to be a backup, it's not really worth taking on all that comes with
bringing
Shadeur.
The circus to come.
Yeah,
down.
and that seems to be, and that's not obviously my original thought. That just seems to be the most common thing that I've heard from people talking about this since it happened, which seems to make sense. The one thing that I didn't like is that coming into the draft, media was all on Shadeur's dick. He's going to be drafted first round, he's great. We love him. But then once they get proven wrong and they look like dummies because he goes in the 5th round, now the whole narrative has changed. Oh, he was terrible in his interviews. Oh, he basically did all of this to himself. That's why we weren't wrong about what we said. He was a shithead and fucked us over.
Yeah, like some of the reports were saying that he was FaceTiming during interviews, that he had his, headphones on and was listening to stuff. He failed to take any sort of accountability to the sacks, necessarily, like, didn't come prepared, made people feel small, those types of things. I wouldn't say that happened after. I think that even like leading up to, like, there's been a lot of shitting on Shadeur Sanders leading into this draft. Like, he has been knocked down a lot. It got like super hot right before the draft, but
I don't know I guess I just find it hard to believe that he went to that extent of like just being out of the ordinary rude. Like, why would that?
Well, I think that it was just a miscalculation. If I could be like try and like surmise what happened here, it's that like Dion and Sheduer and whomever was advising him thought that they had more leverage than they actually did. And in a very weak a very weak quarterback class, when you say, "Hey, do I think this guy can be my starter?" And there's a handful of teams who need starters. If your answer is no, do I want Shadeur Sanders then to be my backup to bring all of the attention that goes when you're thinking about all the cameras in? Like, is that something that I want to take a risk on with all of the things now that is proven is that, like, he holds on to the ball too long. He gets sacked too much. He's not as mobile. His arm isn't as strong. Blah, 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 up and down. That's the critique. So then when the free fall happens, people are starting to say collusion, or it's because, X, Y, Z. And I just think that at a certain point you just go, we don't view him as our starter, and we don't want all the shit that goes along with him as our backup.
I think there's so many things. There's so many stories and viewpoints that is happening, and I'm kind of like, I'm not exhausted from it, but at this point I just want to see how he'll pan out.
Sure.
Just to see who's gonna look like a clown, who's gonna look like a genius or whatever, like if he does something. The one thing I truly believe, he's better than when he was picked. I think I don't think, I'm not saying that he's like lottery. I'm saying he's better than a 5th round, 500,000th pick.
Well,
like, he's better than when he was taken.
Yeah.
And he has a huge opportunity to have a successful career, kind of use this as that reasoning to drive that motivation and to make something of himself without any help from, family who hold a famous name. Like, I would love to have that beginning of the story, if you're able to
The
perform.
part that sucks for me for like if I'm putting myself in their shoes in the Sanders family, it's like you can't deny that the spotlight, the bright light of Dion and all that affected this for sure.
Yeah,
because there's
NIL didn't help.
all
either.
these stories that came out about, John Elway said the same thing. The Mannings said the same thing. Why is he getting fucking pinned for being the same, having the same confidence or having the same ultimatum or whatever, right? Is it just because people don't like him? Is it fucking a race thing? People are pulling the race card, whatever it may be. But you can't deny, like, Quinn Ewers was picked in the 7th round.
He was.
Quinn Ewers took his team to the playoffs, right?
He could have made 10 times more money in the NIL if he stayed at Texas than what he is making now as his base salary.
And if I'm looking at, like, Quinn Ewers and Sheduer, not necessarily, like, I don't think anyone's looking at this comparison, but, like, Sheduer didn't have the same exact talent that Quinn Ewers had around him. But he did his thing at Jackson State. He did his thing at Colorado that turned that team around. Yeah, they didn't make the playoffs, but that was a 1-11 team. Like, I think people forget that was a 1-11 team. And then Prime and him and Travis Hunter came, and they were over 500. And they were winning, solid games.
Yeah.
I just think that the circus and the everything that came with picking him definitely affected this, but I am more looking forward to seeing how he responds to it and how he plays, because he could shut everybody up.
Yeah.
He could be better than Jackson Dart. He could be better than Dylan Gabriel. He could be better than Cam Ward. Cam Ward, no one talked about him, and he was the first fucking pick.
Yeah.
All the story was about this, and I don't know. I feel like the one thing that I will stick with is he should have been like early 2nd round, as late as the late 2nd round. He's definitely a lot better than when he was taken.
Yeah.
And I hope he proves some people wrong.
Yeah, and I think he's at an interesting crossroads. He said something about Elway and about the Mannings and everything, and I feel like the Sanders family overestimated or overplayed their hand to a degree by thinking that Shadeur Sanders was in that, like, at that level, and I'm not, like, trying to diss Sanders there. Just, like, there was, like, a presumption of Eli Manning going where he went. Same with John Elway. I don't think that was the same with Sanders, and so then what you did was you alienated people and teams from, wanting to work with them. Like, Cleveland very much was not on the list of a handful of teams. I mean, like, gosh, Dion was calling out, saying, we're focused on the Giants right now. Shadeur's wearing Giants cleats. Like, I mean, if you're not interested in other
Are
guys,
you saying that, like, Elway and them didn't do that?
No, I know. I know exactly. No, they did.
Yeah, they alienated the fuck out of certain
But
teams.
what I'm saying is that, like, Sheduer overplayed the fact that he had that much pull given his, like, where he was in the draft stock and status and everything. Because a lot of people kind of started saying, like, he's not in the 1st round. And then obviously, like, as it goes on, like, if they're thinking about you as a backup and now you're trying to, like, speak your terms, that's just not going to play very well. So, I don't know. When you're in that, like, you have that group of people around you and you have all these people saying how great you are, you just, like, you're in such a vacuum that you don't really know what reality is. And what reality was kind of saying was that, like, you're not a 5th round pick, but you certainly weren't a 1st round pick. And now you're at a crossroads where you can be like, I'm going to go win that thing, or be like, fuck these guys, I don't want to be here. I'm not a 5th rounder, and it can be a demotivator. You can go one or the other direction, and now it's going to be up to him. And and I'm not trying to say, like, shut up and dribble here, but you got to try and pull all that shit back and focus on winning that job at this point.
I think it's very smart for him to create, some an independent identity of just Sheduer, not Dion's son, and to become the professional that he needs to be to have success long term in the league.
I don't know if you guys see this at all in, like, today's athletes and heading into the draft or, accomplishing their goal or their dream, but like maybe this is something that I look at more, but if you look at 10, 20 years ago and you're looking at college athletes or high school athletes, it's like the one step that I want to make is make it to the pros. And it's like, I'll do everything possible. I will train to do interviews the right way. I'll study all of this and make sure I'm presenting myself in the right light so teams want me. And it's almost like athletes today, which are kind of like celebrities to a point, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
They don't have that same motivation because if this doesn't happen, I have a lot of other outlets. I have a lot of other options. People already know my name. I could be a fucking YouTube star.
Yeah.
I could do this. So there's not that same, like to me, what I'm seeing is there's not that same hunger. Especially if you're a Sanders.
So when you hear him say "Let's be legendary," you think it's a crock of shit.
Not necessarily. I'm just like I'm comparing it to like other athletes where like they don't have any in 2002 they don't have any other options. I'm trying to make it out of this so I could be here. And now you have people that kind of have they're skilled. I'm not saying they didn't deserve to be there, but it's like Sheduer has other options. If he doesn't make it to the NFL, he'll make money somewhere.
And this is, I'm not trying to like back you into a corner here. Do you think that Shadeur Sanders wants to be legendary, or do you think that it's just like hey, I'm going to keep saying this because I know that I can make this my brand if and when this shit doesn't work out? Do you think he wants to be legendary?
Who doesn't?
I wouldn't call it a crock of shit, but I don't think saying that, I don't think that same hunger is there as if somebody else said it. Does that make sense?
It does. Yeah.
Like
I don't know. I don't think that everyone wants to be legendary. Honestly, I don't think
Really?
everyone wants to be legendary.
Yeah.
I know what, and I think we all know what comes with the baggage of being a huge celebrity with being legendary and the things that the doors that open for you, but certainly the doors that close for you. I mean, we've talked about this where it's kind of like I would almost rather be like the C-D list celebrity who's in a lot of movies who people go, I know that guy, but I can't put my finger on him, and I'm not going to go up to him at dinner, but like, I know that you're famous.
Do you see what I'm saying? Though?
Happens to us all the time right now with our
if you
podcast,
take another player where their only chance of a good life is to make it to the NFL, and if they don't, it's like everything they worked for is nothing. Yeah. This is pre-NIL, pre-everything, everything else. There's that hunger there where it's like my world crumbles if I don't get drafted. Right now, and this is not just Sheduer. This could be a Travis Hunter. This could be anyone else in today's world that have made a name for themselves. This could be a Cooper Flag. You know what I mean? That same hunger isn't there anymore for me.
Yeah,
it's like if this doesn't work out, there's 10 other fucking doors.
Yeah,
there's 10 other doors. So there's not that same hunger where like I want to make it so bad.
Yeah. But I mean, there is like that billionaires mentality. There is the Kobe's and the Tom Brady's of the that I just kind of wonder what we will see in our like kind of next generation of athlete. With
that billionaire mentality, Kobe is one of those athletes I was talking about. Brady, who's one of those, they made it there.
Yeah.
But Sheduer technically is already talking like that before he's there.
He hasn't earned it.
For me, same with Travis Hunter. For me, it's the same with Cam Ward or some of these guys. There's not that same hunger as those athletes before them.
Yeah.
And obviously we know about the prank phone call that Shadeur Sanders received. A person claiming to be Mickey Loomis, the GM of the Saints, and then saying, hey, we're going to take you with our next pick. Of course, Sheduer says, oh, let's be legendary, which, felt very scripted. But then Mickey Loomis, quote unquote, says, but you're going to have to wait a little bit longer, and then hangs up. And he says, what does that mean? Turns out it was a prank phone call that was made by the son of the defensive coordinator for the Atlanta Falcons, an Ole Miss student who only got that number because it was visible on his dad's iPad or whatever. Apparently, Boost Mobile or whomever was sponsoring Sheduer had just the only people who had that phone number were people within the NFL. So there was he thought no way that anyone's going to be able to make that. And it turns out that the defensive coordinator of the Atlanta Falcons' son got that. And
yeah, as much as people don't like Shadeur for whatever
That's
reason, no one deserves that. I would beat the shit out of that kid. That is a privileged, never been hit in the face motherfucker that deserves whatever's coming to him.
Yeah, it was tough watch.
Yeah, I mean, it's like,
because you feel bad for him. Really, you just feel bad for him. Like, I don't think it looked like, oh, ha ha, funny.
Got you, Sheduer.
Gotcha.
No, like, that's like, I mean, as much as I dislike Shadeur Sanders, like, and all the things that come around with that, I'm allergic to Shadeur Sanders, just like you. No, like, that's cruel.
Yeah,
it's so stupid. Like, you robbed a person of that moment, regardless of how you feel about them. Yeah. I am human enough to pull myself away and see how fucked that is. Yeah. And then, it turns in like you could have this privileged kid, this affluent kid who's never probably worked a huge day in his life, is now. Could have gotten his dad fired. Could have stripped everything away of all of those things because that happened, right? Like all those things that
you're pushing for that.
All those things that you're accusing Shadeur Sanders of, look right in the mirror there, dude. Yeah. You absolutely.
I'm surprised people aren't pushing for. I'm calling for that dude's head.
No, I mean
his dad.
Yeah, I mean they're probably going to change up protocols and everything like that. Like. There's no malice, at least on the dad's front. But anyways, so that was screw. That was awful. And I think that my final thought on Sheduer is you have to act like a fifth-round talent now. Just like Brock Purdy, who was your Mr. Irrelevant. I know that I was Mr. Irrelevant, but I know I'm better than that. But I have to earn that. And now, what Brock Purdy is in line for after now George Kittle becomes the highest paid tight end in the NFL is poised to get, $40-50 million. And I think that that's possible still for Sheduer.
If there's a couple positive things that came out of this on accident, obviously, is I think the whole draft process probably humbled Shadeur Sanders a little bit. But now you kind of flip the script, and if you were taken as the fifth pick for some reason, you are almost set up to fucking fail. I mean, every mistake, it is magnified. It is looked at. But now it's like, you're fifth rounder, dude.
Yeah, pressure's kind of off.
Pressure's kind of off. Every good thing you do, people are going to be like, yeah, I told you he should have been a second rounder. Told you he should have been a first rounder. But when he makes mistakes, people are going to be like, yeah, that's why you fell in the fucking fifth round. So that pressure was kind of lifted off of his shoulders, and it's, at least for me, that's going to be easier for him to kind of prove himself, where there's not that same weight as if he would have been taken in the lottery.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, I guarantee every Browns broadcast where Joe Flacco does something incorrect, they're going to just cut away right to Shadeur Sanders. That's what a lot of teams probably wanted to avoid, right? Yeah. Is that. Your Browns made a bunch of headlines throughout the draft by then trading away pick number 2, the Travis Hunter pick, to the Jacksonville Jaguars. And so they get a few picks in return. And, this trade was done by the new general manager, that very young guy that we had talked about prior, who then, after the fact, just glazed Travis Hunter up and down. But this guy was actually part of the Rams organization during the fuck them picks era. And so he goes, oh, I'm pretty familiar with them picks, right? And the thing that it's kind of like a fun talking point that I don't understand why you would make this move if you're Jacksonville. Why it absolutely makes sense for the Browns to trade that pick. Because, like, who knows, how Travis Hunter's going to be managed.
Yeah.
Who knows his health and all of that. Is he a generational player? I don't think so. I think he's probably going to be hurt more than anything, and his career will not be realized as such. That's my personal take. But the Jaguars, let me back up to the Rams when they did the fuck them picks thing to get Matthew Stafford over and everything. They were a piece away. They were like a player away from winning a Super Bowl, and then they went and won the Super Bowl. The Jaguars hired a brand new GM, first-time GM, a brand new head coach, first-time head coach, and have no idea who their personnel are, and then mortgaged part of their future to get a guy who I believe will not be that transcendent player. You don't even know what your identity is. So to sacrifice that for a guy that I think may or may not pan out, I think is a huge risk.
Yeah, I don't think it made a lot of sense for the Jaguars to do what they did and to offer what they did. At the end of the day, I feel like Cleveland fleeced them.
Fleeced the fuck out of them.
And they're going to probably look dumb in the long run. But I'll take it. No complaints.
Yeah.
Remember how we talked about draft day? I don't know if you guys mentioned that you've seen it.
Yeah.
So you haven't seen it.
With Bo Callahan and
so the
back and
Kevin
forth with
Costner
Seattle.
movie, he was
Yeah.
the GM of the Cleveland Browns.
Okay.
So you need to see it now because you're going to have an appreciation for it after what happened in this draft. He, as the Cleveland Browns GM, fleeced the Jacksonville Jaguars in that movie. Same live pick for the number one quarterback, in this case, in the movie, to get 4 number 1 picks, a punt returner, and 2 second-round picks. I mean, it was step by step the same fucking fleece move in the movie. Because when I heard that, I was like, "Is this a fucking prank? Like, this is the exact same scene from the fucking movie."
I'll have to watch that. I've honestly never even heard of it really.
Yeah. It's a big splash to make if you're Jacksonville with a lot of risk. Too much risk that I don't think that you've earned, right? But I think that that's what kind of puts the Jaguars in the situation that they are. And, you're mortgaging draft future when you don't even know the identity of your team. And you've got a motivated owner who has consistently made mistakes, and you don't really know what your team is going to look like. I mean, gosh, you could have gotten Ashton Genty and got rid of ETN. Trevor Lawrence is your long-term, but again, just a perennial injured quarterback. And
with Cleveland, it remains to be seen, but if that guy knows what he's doing, I think the clear winner of this draft was Cleveland. I mean, the fact that you got all those picks from Jacksonville, and I'm talking within the next 2 to 3 years. This might not be something we see this upcoming season, but in the next 2 to 3 seasons, what they did against Jacksonville, being able to get 2 skilled quarterbacks in the later rounds with Dylan Gabriel and Shadeur Sanders. Because let's say one of those two don't really pan out as a Brown, you can get picks for them. But in the future, it remains to be seen. But I think, how we looked at the Giants and it was like, oh, they got Evan Neal in that one draft. They got Thibodeau and all that. They were the clear winner. I think the Browns were the clear winner of this draft, at least for me, because of the picks that they got. It's almost like it's giving me kind of the Thunder.
Yeah.
4 or 5 years ago. Like, the Thunder is just completely fucking disassembled this whole roster, and then all of a sudden they're getting these picks year after year after year. Same with Boston against Brooklyn and the Wizards. It's kind of giving me that same energy.
Well, and because they took, 2 bigger name guys in Dylan Gabriel and Shadeur Sanders, people didn't notice that they took 2 really good running backs, which are that's a position of need with the Browns for sure. And I think they found guys that are going to be a big deal.
Who's their running backs? Who'd they take?
They took Judkins.
Quinton Judkins from Ohio State. Big pickup.
Yes.
Yeah, they took Judkins and they took Dylan Sampson from Tennessee.
Yeah.
It was interesting. This was the draft of the edge rusher for sure. But then let's see. You have who was I going for on this? Oh yeah, Billy Bean, I think is the Buffalo Bills GM. He went on radio today. He did his Monday or Tuesday, whatever, media appearance, and just like went in on the radio hosts who were basically like, criticizing the fact that the Bills didn't draft more impact players, that they enhanced their defense. And he just goes, listen, we got rid of, Stephon Diggs, and, look what we did. We scored 30 points the final 8 games of the season. Like, what else do you want here? So he was going in on the radio host there. Good for NFL.com has the Browns at a B+. Then, of course, you get, the Cowboys that always are just, taking linemen, defensive tackles, offensive guards. Let's see. What would the worst grade be?
Jacksonville Jaguars?
Yeah, probably Jacksonville. The Texans had traded out of a number of things. These guys are calling Jacksonville an A-. So I'm going to go ahead and stop looking at this at this draft grade.
In the USA Today bullshit is that? Us Weekly?
I'm going to go ahead and just say
where
that's not what
did
we want.
the Ohio State guys like Travion Henderson and Igbuka, where did they go?
One moment, please.
Because that's a solid running back.
Travion Henderson went round 2, number 38, to the New England Patriots.
Solid.
And then what was the other one?
Emeka Igbuka, the receiver.
Ooh, how do I spell Emeka Mbuka?
Emeka.
Emeka. Mbuka went 19th overall to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. So Genty was taken by Pete Carroll, which shocker there. Pete Carroll's first pick with the Raiders was Ashton Genty.
I like that, though. They don't have a fucking running back. I think Vrabel is quietly putting together a squad in New England. Because I wasn't a believer in Drake May, but I think Drake May could do some damage with him. You can count on a Vrabel team having a really good O-line and a good fucking defense. So if you have Ramondre Stevenson and you have Travion, and they just need receivers. They need receivers for Drake May to throw to. And then you're giving fucking Igbuka to Baker with Mike Evans. Okay.
Yeah, the Patriots seemingly addressed a bunch of offensive needs. They drafted, obviously, Will Campbell, 4th overall, then got, in the 3rd round, Jared Wilson out of Georgia, the center, got Henderson, and then Kyle Williams from Washington State from wide receiver, then spent the middle of the draft going safety, defensive tackle, edge rusher. Then they just threw
Who's the coach again? It sounds like he has a focus.
And then you got a kicker in there, and then offensive tackle, linebacker, and
you could put anyone in that backfield for Vrabel. They're going to be 1,000-yard rushers.
Yeah,
he'll be just fine.
And let's see, what do you guys think of Jackson Dart going to the Giants? That was kind of the first bit of a shock there.
As long as that Pokemon is their head coach, they ain't doing shit, man. He's a fucking idiot.
Tyler Shuck, the former Oregon Duck, going to the Saints.
Is that the Louisville guy?
Yeah,
that guy sucks.
It was not.
That guy
so
sucks.
Good. Yeah.
How does
people talked really fondly?
A lovely family. I've met his family, but
I'm not high on Dylan Gabriel. How did he get drafted before Dylan Gabriel?
Because Dylan Gabriel's 5'10".
No, that's no longer the case, because that the Russell Wilsons of the world, the Baker Mayfields of the world, they have
Kyler Murray.
They have debunked that fucking myth, right? Quinn Ewers and Dylan Gabriel had an incredible regular season and then got exposed in the playoffs. Those playoff games ruined their draft stock.
You think?
Absolutely. Dylan Gabriel would have gone way higher had it not been for that Ohio State fucking beatdown.
Yeah, maybe.
He would have gone way higher. Quinn Ewers, had it not been against Ohio State ruined both of these quarterbacks, technically, because they would have gone way higher if it hadn't been for those games.
Well, speaking of Ohio State and quarterbacks, Will Howard drafted to the Pittsburgh Steelers, 185th overall in the 6th round. They've got their Mason Rudolph of the next 2 decades. So
Absolutely.
I don't know how he will do in the pros. He's experienced and he's got an arm, but the guy can't move. He's got
Without pads,
he's the Mason Rudolph of the next 2 decades.
with pads without pads and a helmet, he looks like a lineman.
Yeah.
He looks like he could play tackle.
Let's see.
I wouldn't call him Rudolph. I'd go Mitch Trubisky.
All right.
Yeah.
He's probably more of a Mitch Trubisky.
I'm just
tomato,
situationally
tomato.
because he's on that team already. If I were to go up from behind both of them, I don't know if I could pick.
What
Why are
we're
you sneaking up behind him, Peter?
what we're naming
You know
here?
why.
They're basketball school quarterbacks. That's what they are.
Yeah.
They're basketball school quarterbacks.
There's probably a couple of other fun storylines, but I can't remember them off of the top of my head of people that we want to talk about from the.
We're nearing this stage in sports where let's get the NBA playoffs over with, and then we're counting down the days until football.
True.
Until fantasy football, college football, NFL.
So what we have here now, if we're talking about the NBA, the Indiana Pacers this evening in Game 5, a gentleman's sweep, have defeated the Milwaukee Bucks in overtime to advance to the next round. They will play the Cleveland Cavaliers, who swept the Miami Heat.
They won by 100 last night.
They won by 53 points, which is the 4th biggest differential or the biggest margin of victory in NBA history, and the 122 points margin of victory in the series against the Miami Heat is the largest margin of victory in a series in NBA history.
In the betting world, you always take the over with Cleveland because they will carry that over by themselves. So that game last night was posted on a total of 212.5. Cleveland scored 138
They sure
by
did.
themselves.
They sure did.
They
It
kept
was-
the other team at
yeah.
83, but that shit hit the over. You always bet the over on these guys because they have at least 6 or 7 dudes that could hit more than 5 threes in the fucking game.
Jeez.
It looks like the Boston Celtics are on their way to sweeping as well, or to at least winning that series. I do want to address the back to the Milwaukee and Pacers series where Damian Lillard goes down. He tears or ruptures his Achilles. He is done for, obviously, the year and probably next year. He's got 2 years left on his Supermax deal, one of them being a player option, so he will obviously take that of $50+ million.
Tearing your Achilles sucks, and that's super unfortunate for Dame, even though I'm not a huge fan of Damian Lillard. But he made himself look like a clown in this fucking series. He was talking way too much shit for somebody that's not suited up, for somebody who's hurt. Basically led the petition that Tyrese Halliburton was the most overrated player in the whole NBA, which I don't necessarily agree with. I think he's kind of a cheeseball. He's kind of corny, whatever.
He is good.
He's the Michael B. Jordan of the NBA. He's kind of corny as fuck. But to call this guy overrated and for this guy to hit the game winner to gentlemen sweep you out of the the whole time you were talking shit to him,
Yeah.
how he's fucking weak and he's a bitch.
It's
and
a
then
bad look.
It's a bad look for
Terrible
Milwaukee.
luck is a bad luck.
This does a lot to like. This is gonna change the whole Bucks organization. I think Giannis is gone.
Yeah.
I think Giannis is gone after this season.
They're in such a weird, I'm glad you bring that up. They're in such a weird crossroads because they have none of their picks in the first round for the next 5 years. They have no ability to leverage anything outside of
Gave it all up for Dame.
what they have, right? Yeah. You had Drew Holiday, who then you trade away to Portland, who then you trade away, who they trade away to Boston to help leverage Boston's championship run and get them over the hump. Meanwhile, you had your guys, and they didn't necessarily think long term. They thought we're one piece away, even though you had that piece that helped you win the championship.
To their credit, if Dame was present, they wouldn't have been swept. They probably
no.
If Dame is not past his prime, if he was around, they probably would have gone further.
After you tear your Achilles, though, I don't know.
That's
you might
hard.
be past your prime. You might have been thrust past your prime because of that. I don't know.
Yeah, I think he's definitely. It's going to be hard to come back.
You might
in
be on
prime
the
condition.
down slope of your career now. Because
I'm just saying pre that injury.
Yeah.
You know, if he was playing,
sure.
I think wouldn't have been the case. I think the small silver lining for Milwaukee, there's one guy that increased his stock, and it's my boy. It's Gary Trent Jr. Gary Trent Jr. had an incredible playoff series, even though they won one game. I mean, he was dropping 10 threes, scoring 25, 30. If there's anything they can leverage to possibly get more, if they're going to lose Giannis or lose Dame or whoever, it's him. He had the year that like CJ had when Portland was Portland.
Sure.
You know, in the last few years.
Entertaining series to be had so far is one that is in Game 5 as we speak between the Nuggets and the Clippers. That one's been a rather fun one. It's, everyone's saying, oh my gosh, Kawhi is so good. Well, yes, it's great when Kawhi is playing and he's healthy, he is good. It's just there's never an expectation that he is healthy and that he is playing. I love that he is playing, and it's good to see him on the court.
It's really easy to shit on Kawhi when, the whole load management is happening. But to me, when he's around, and that's the key word, the key phrase is when he's playing, there's no better player in the league, in my opinion.
Very good.
You don't hear shit talking. You don't hear him anywhere. He just fucking plays.
Yeah.
And he plays well.
And I just want him to play.
There's no Jimmy Butler drama. There's no Dylan Brooks drama. It's just Kawhi dropping 40.
Well, and you can't blame people for kind of forgetting.
Because he's gone a lot.
Oh, yeah, you're good.
A ghost for years.
Yeah, he's gone a lot. So I want the Nuggets to win this so bad for Jokic.
And for our money.
That's
for
true.
our money. Yeah.
But Jokic losing their head coach, I don't know if you've seen a more animated Jokic in the past seasons than this season. He is coaching his fucking teammates. He's losing his mind on the sidelines. What the fuck is happening right now? I've always thought he deserved the MVP. He's deserved the MVP for the last 5 fucking years. I want them to win because I don't really like Harden. I don't like the Clippers. He kind of got fucked over with the whole Mike Malone firing.
Yeah, for sure.
I want the Nuggets to move on.
The Nuggets are currently leading. It is almost halftime there as we talk. The Pistons extend their series with the Knicks, so by the time this podcast comes out, the series might be over. It might be in Game 7, so we shall see. But the winner of the Celtics, or the winner of that series of the Pistons-Knicks will go on to play the Celtics. And then the Pacers will get the Cleveland Cavaliers. If we're
the best series, let's talk about the best series: the Golden State Warriors and the Houston Rockets.
Yeah, the playoff Jimmy against
your
boy Dylan Brooks going after each other.
I think Jimmy is an attention whore. I think Jimmy is a fucking give me the spotlight. But I tell you what,
Gimme Jimmy.
I respect and appreciate playoff Jimmy.
I mean,
he's a fucking
he's
dog.
damn fun to watch.
He's a fucking dog, dude. That playoff Jimmy, if you can see Steph Curry smiling, going, I'm so fucking glad we got this guy. Like, how mediocre was Golden State before they got him?
Yeah, I mean, they were floundering.
Yeah.
But Steph carried them to at least be in the play-in.
Yeah.
And then Jimmy came, got him to the 7th seed.
Juiced him up a little bit.
But then they're both kind of having this, and who knows how long this will last, but they're both having the same opinion of, like, Steph's like, I'm so fucking glad we have him. And Jimmy's like, I could not wish to play with any other player than Steph Curry.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I mean, this is fucking incredible.
I mean, the Warriors are once again proving what playoff talent gets you. The Rockets coming in as, a 2 seed against the Warriors. They, Rockets 52-30 on the year. Warriors are up 3-1 in the series. Jimmy Butler and Dillon Brooks chirping at each other on the foul line last night. Throughout the game, obviously, but like there's the viral clip of them basically almost coming to blows there. Reporters trying to be like, oh, how fun was it? There was nothing fun about that.
I just love
This wasn't fun.
for me it's great just because I think Dillon Brooks is such a fucking joke. Like, he doesn't make a difference. The thing is, if you can hate Draymond Green, right? Dropping 6 points, 8 rebounds, and 7 assists, whatever. That guy does more outside of the stat sheet
Draymond
for his team.
Yeah.
That's a fact. That's proven. There's 4 rings to prove it.
Yeah.
Right? He does a lot of intangible shit that makes a difference for that team. Dillon Brooks is just a joke.
He's a Temu Draymond Green. Is he not? Like, I mean, he's what you want him to be.
That's
but then,
disrespectful to Temu.
That's what I was going to say. There's a lot of great products in Temu. And I wouldn't even say that Dillon Brooks is Temu.
He wants to be the Draymond, but like they can't win or do anything to back it up. He did it in Memphis. He's doing it here. And it's just like, you're not winning. You're not doing anything to back it up. So I'm sorry. I mean, it's like he's, our kindred, our brethren from Oregon, but like at a certain point,
because you can kind of go down the, you
vibes.
You got to win a fucking game.
You kind of Chihuahua vibes is super accurate, but you can kind of go down the list. Like, this is Bill Laimbeer, Dennis Rodman, right? Fucking players you hated if they're not on your team, and then you get to Draymond, and he's like the wish.com of Dennis Rodman and Bill Laimbeer. But then you get to Dillon Brooks, and it's like,
we found the
there's like,
level,
where's the win and loss column here? Like, what do you contribute? Because Draymond, there's a lot of shit that he does that if you're anti-Golden State, you're like, fuck this guy, eject him. There's one moment last night, or whenever they played, 2 nights ago, where Houston was in the huddle, and he just put himself in the middle. And Sengun or whatever was like elbowing him. He's like, get the fuck out of here. And Draymond was just in there. You know what that does? There's 3 guys in that huddle that didn't hear the fucking play. I mean, if you're just talking about mind games, pissing people off, Rodman used to do that shit all the time to Malone, right? And you can get technicals for it, and you can get whatever. But you just affected that, at least that one series where those guys didn't hear the fucking play. They were focused on getting mad at you.
Yeah.
That's the type of shit that he brings to the fucking table. He could be triple single all fucking day. But he just affected that, and they lost by what? By 2?
They
close game.
Houston lost by 2. You're talking about
3, but yeah.
1 or 2 plays that could have affected the other team, and the reason why you won. That's the shit that Draymond brings to the table, because they don't need you to be anything else, because Steph is Steph. And if anyone is doubting how great Steph Curry is, pay attention to this fucking season. If you've even had doubts still. And then Jimmy dropping 25 that night. He doesn't need to be a scorer. He doesn't need to be anything else.
Yeah, like Steph Curry's the Atlas who has just been holding the world up.
I don't know how anyone could doubt. Steph Curry has done Steph Curry shit without being treated like a superstar.
Yeah.
Imagine if he got treated like Kobe got treated, like LeBron got treated. It'd be insane.
Yeah, well, LeBron and the Lakers bitching and moaning in their what was it, Game 4 loss to the Minnesota Timberwolves. Obviously, they need to look in the mirror a little bit. A lot of things went.
It's not a good look.
Yeah, it's like you're not like they're not the ones who made the referees. You're saying that, oh, he got tripped, he didn't call it. You're the one who made the bad pass to LeBron. You're the one who didn't get back in transition. You're the one who allowed Anthony Edwards to get hot, and when Edwards gets hot, he just absolutely just doesn't stop.
Yeah.
And so, yes, you've got Minnesota right now leading that series 3-1.
You can blame the refs all you want, but if you are in the position in the game where you're counting on the refs to make a call because you're down 2 or it's a 5-point game or a 6-point game against a team who barely made it out of the play-in, and you got Luka, you got bigger problems to fucking worry about.
Yeah.
Like the fact that you can get, like, you could lose the series 4-1 against Minnesota, which to me has the most overrated player in the league in Gobert. Then what the fuck are you doing?
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, for sure.
You got to look inward on that one.
Be a little introspective, but there's no way. There's no way they will be introspective. Lawin. Got him.
Good one,
Look.
Pete.
Got him so good. Got him so good.
Oh, man.
I don't know what else to talk about other than there's the whole story going around with Bill Belichick and his like back page hooker girlfriend. So
She's a nice lady. Pete.
right, I'm sure they met on a plane.
She's pretty fucking hot.
She's not unattractive. It's just
No.
the fact that like she's.
I'm not even saying for Bill. Like, she's hot.
Yeah, she's a very attractive woman.
What is she? I mean, she's got to have money too. Like, why is she with him?
I don't get it.
Is he packing? Is
No,
Bill just?
He's got a lot of money.
Money.
Dude, these influencers make a fuck ton of money. Are you
Yeah.
kidding? Like, we're no longer in that time
Yeah.
where like you're gold digging Bill Belichick of all people. Like, do it with Mark Cuban. Do it with somebody else.
Yeah, I suppose. It's a very interesting relationship.
Yeah.
gotta be
That
packing
interview was pretty cringy.
Super awkward.
Yeah.
Her storming out and then looking and saying he's not answering that question, all because he wants to find out how you guys met. Like, sounds like you got
And
something to hide.
Well, and they've talked about it publicly before.
Right, but like, is that really how they met on an airplane and he
That's true.
signed a book or something for her?
That's true.
Come on.
Tell you what, though, people are talking about him, and he was promoting that book.
Yeah.
So maybe she's the greatest publicist
How do you
out there.
If you have to predict what's going to happen with the Tar Heels football program, how do you think he's going to do?
I think he's going to do well.
Yeah, above average.
Like, playoff well?
No.
I don't know if I'd go that far.
No.
But, I mean, Carolina, it's not like they've been shit. You know, they've been winning.
They'll win 9 games this year.
They finish in the top 25.
Yeah. They're always like a number 17.
Yeah.
17 to
I'd argue
23.
even top 20.
17 to 23.
Because who did they have before? Was it Mac?
And at 9 wins, that you're not getting up there.
Their
so.
coach was
Was Mac Brown.
Mac Brown.
Oh, yeah.
And then that's since, like, they've been winning since it was Mitch Trubisky, Drake May. Like, they've had a pretty decent team the last few years.
Yeah, they've been fringe. For
They've
sure.
been fringe while she's been cringe. I'm so good at this.
Wow.
Mind blowing.
I am so good at this, guys.
Are you guys ready to eat?
Probably. I was going to tell you what their record was. Oh, I don't have it. That's okay. Doesn't matter.
I've been looking at the top 10 podcast, and I didn't see us on there.
Oh, check next week.
Yeah,
We'll be
we got to talk more about the WWE. That's why I'm still so in it. We didn't even talk about WrestleMania last week. That was such a bummer. But
Do we have a big WrestleMania crowd?
I mean, gosh, what's happening right now with Seth Rollins,
Seth Rogen,
Paul Heyman, anyone,
Paul Heyman.
Never heard of him.
anyone, Braun Breaker.
I stopped paying
Spear.
attention after Shawn Michaels left.
Yeah, whatever. You guys know. Just hit me up. We'll talk about it. We'll have a side podcast.
Hey, Duke got Cedric Coward out of the
That's his name.
Cedric Coward.
Howard
His last name is Coward.
Coward.
Yeah.
Like Colin
From Washington
Coward?
State. No, it's spelled coward. Like you're a fucking coward.
Okay.
But that's a big portal pickup. John Shire, congrats. Just wanted to bring that up.
Clear eyes.
Congratulations. Full hearts.
Can't lose.